What is up, everybody? This is 10-4 Broadcasting, bringing you live action out of the High Octane Sim series here. I'm joined with my co-host, Mike. And Mike, this is our first race with the High Octane Sim series. How excited are you?
Oh, definitely looking forward to tonight. Running Chicago, which is a mile and a half this afternoon. Um, actually, I should say this evening. We're using the old Gen 6 cars. So definitely would be an interesting run tonight.
It sure is, and I'm excited to be calling these races here at the High Octane Sim Series. We are in for a treat here. This looks like a full field. They are still running some practice laps here. About 6.5 minutes left to practice, and then we'll get to qualifying, and then we'll get to racing at around 8 p.m. here tonight, live on 10-4 Broadcasting. Taking a look at the Windy City here. We are real weather settings here. A cool 72 degrees, a little bit of moisture in the air, clear and surprisingly low wind for the Windy City there in Chicago. And Mike, as an iRacer yourself, how tricky or what are the viewers in store for here at Chicagoland?
Oh, it's going to be a lot of degrees changing, um, low banks. I think this is going to be a great race. We're going to see tonight.
Oh yeah, we are in for a treat here. This is a very competitive league here at the High Octane Sim Series. We are in for it here tonight. Keep a lookout for Hammer Time Gaming. They are the team leader in points right now. And our last week's winner, I'm just gonna jump over there and check that for you. Let's see. And Mike, as I'm getting that information for the viewers here, what I'm not very familiar with Chicagoland. It's the track that kind of gets looked over in the NASCAR series. What do you have to do at a track like this as far as like entry into the corners, letting off, and what do you think is going to be the game plan for these drivers here tonight?
Well, as we're seeing the 22 car here going down that apron, it's a tad bit off the corners. Um, the one key for Chicagoland is definitely going to be um, patience. Um, you basically want to make sure that you're entering high on 3 and 4. The one thing is you want to save tires. Tires are going to be a key at this track. Um, see, we got the number 3 car in chat. Said that he's going to be unable to run. Uh, Kenny Power Motorsports and Schaefer Enterprise guys. So looks like we're going to be down one driver this evening so far.
And that is okay because we are excited to be at Chicagoland here tonight, Mike. Taking a look at last week's result at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Tyler Tomasi, he led about 123 laps in that race. So he laid down the gauntlet. He dominated. He actually won by about 13 seconds over second place. So what a win for Tyler Tomasi last week. So keep an eye on him tonight to take home that victory as well. Looks like he ran quite the race last week, Mike.
Definitely. So far in practice, we got about 17 drivers in the field as we look right now.
Pretty good field for here at Chicagoland. And it looks like we are wrapping up the practice session here, and then we will jump over to qualifying. See who can put that down. A hot lap, get on the pole here. If it's Tyler Tomasi, then look out for the rest of the field because he led 123 laps last week in that event. So keep an eye out for him in tonight's field. And we'll see if some other drivers, as I said, this is our first race for the High Octane Sim Series here, so we are excited to be calling this action here. We are in for, I believe it is 150 laps here tonight, Mike.
I believe 180.
180. There we go. I believe it does break down into a few different stages. Let me jump over there for you. Let's see. So as far as like the corners go, Mike, you want to make sure you save tires, or do you want to? Is it a type of track that you want to let off going into the corners, or is it the type of track that you can kind of let it go, or how do you conquer Chicagoland?
Um, Well, it's definitely a fast track, so I think it's gonna be more of it's gonna be patience with the draft. We've seen a couple years ago um, how banking and how uh, not taking enough fuel towards the end of the race would be difficult. But as we're told that we have stages in this event, definitely it's going to be a game changer going forward. Do you pit or do you
Oh
not
yeah.
to pit?
Do you pit or do you not pit? That is the question, to quote Shakespeare there. To break down tonight's race, it will be 180 laps here at Chicagoland. The stages will be 50, 100, and of course, to complete that, we'll have an 80-lap shootout to get our 180. The boys will be racing with 4 sets of tires for tonight, Mike, because that was something that you were mentioning there about that strategy about keeping those tires clean. So keep that in mind. You'll see about 4 sets of tires for the boys here. Keep an eye out for that, Mike. As we're taking a look at the cars hitting the track here, it looks like qualifying session has begun, and the green flag should be dropping momentarily after that, Mike. And again, this is Mike and Will with 10-4 Broadcasting. We're very excited to bring you this Friday night action under the lights here at Chicagoland. And man, keep an eye out for, I believe it was Tyler Tomasi. He led 123 laps last week at Atlanta. Man, domination, Mike. So keep an eye out for that here tonight as we watch the boys here take their qualifying laps.
Not just yet qualifying. We've got about 30 seconds here, so they're getting some
Good.
final tunes before going to qualifying and a two-lap shootout. Uh, Being told so far the car number 33 is also not here this evening due to personal issues. But hope you guys tune in and watch the broadcast and hopefully you enjoy it. Looks like we're looking at one rookie in the field this evening, and that is the 22 of Nick Offord. Other than that, we got some good veterans as our drivers here are getting ready for qualifying.
And qualifying has begun here at Chicagoland. This is week 6 here at the High Octane Sim Series. This is the Cup Series. We are racing the old gen cars here. This is the first car taking the track here in qualifying. We'll see what kind of bar he can set for the rest of the field here in qualifying. It seems like getting to the top of the field, starting on that pole position, will be key as we take a look at the in-car camera here, brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. He's entering 3. Now, Mike, this looks like more of a wide corner, almost like a dirt track or a short track, but just not the banking of a super speedway.
Yeah, definitely. On your out laps, you definitely want to stay high as much as possible to build up that speed like you do a super speedway. You run high the first lap, and as far as your out lap as well, try to build that speed up, and then your second lap you're running down low to get as much time cut off as possible. This is the 45 of Darren Steph. I apologize if I pronounced you guys' name a little bit wrong. Right now, running P3 on board the 81 of Zachary Compton for 30.54. You see the second lap, they are down on that white line.
I see exactly what you're talking about, Mike, there. As you enter 3 and 4, it seems like you want to kind of ride that white line there at the apex of the corner, and then you want to kind of shoot out of the corner, kind of dip down into the apron to get that lap in.
Definitely, we got a new fast lap on the board. Matthew Bradley, 30.27.
And
And Riley
he's actually
Hoops.
racing at Palm Bay, Florida. That be there.
Riley Hoops also, or Hoots, I should say. I apologize. 30.27. Darren Struff, 30.29. So we got some interesting lap times here this evening.
And we apologize for mispronouncing anybody's name. Of course, this is our first time here broadcasting for High Octane Sim Series. We'll get those names down because it seems like we'll be calling these names a lot at the top of the field here. And Batby there, I got to give a shout out to him because he is racing out of Florida. I am commentating out of Florida, so gotta stick those Florida boys together, and hopefully he can stay at the front there. But we'll keep an eye on him in tonight's race, along with Hoots there in second. Looks like they're almost neck to neck on the qualifying times. And then it looks like, is that strapped at an P3 there? But back to the action here on the track. This is the 42 car. Looks like he is done with his lap there. Let's see what kind of lap he put up. Do you see him on the grid there? He actually is going to be qualifying P4. That is Bledsoe there in the 42 Good Wrench car. Kind of a crazy color scheme there. He's got the Good Wrench on the side, but he's got the blue and white with the 42 on the side. So it's kind of throws you off a little bit there, Mike.
Definitely looks like he put down a 30.33. All these times are definitely very close to each other, so we're looking for a good race this evening.
Oh man, it almost looks neck to neck on these qualifying times, milliseconds on some of these runs here. So we'll see if anybody can knock off Batby at the top of the grid there. We're taking a look at live action on the track here. This is the 23 car. Not to be confused with Michael Jordan, but this is the 23 machine taking the corner here. And Mike, I'm really keeping an eye on that strategy, as you were saying. As the drivers dip down into 3 and 4, they really hug that white line, but then kind of swing back out there and then dip down like at the starting line there. So it's kind of a different strategy here at Chicagoland.
This looks like it's going to be the last qualifier this evening. First lap is a 30.93.
See if he can improve on that. Looks like he is building up some speed here on the backstretch. Coming down into 3, you see that dig on that white line. You want to almost touch that white line with the tires. Looks like he's going to come a little short there. Swinging way out. Now he's going to cross the line. Let's see where about he's going to finish there in that 23 car. P17, and that's Tallman in the 23 car coming home P17 here in qualifying. So he's going to start kind of the tail end of the pack, but a lot in store in this 180 lap shootout here at Chicagoland. It is going to be Batby at the top, starting P1 here. What a great run for him. He is our pole winner here in the High Octane Sim Series. Taking a look at this grid here, Mike, if you want to run the viewers through the starting grid.
Starting off a pole, Matthew Bathy with a 30.265. Riley Hoots in that car number 24. Then we got Darren Straff in car number 45. In P4, Kevin Bullock in car 62. In P5, David Medina in car 9. P6 is Alan Bledsoe in car 42. We got a rookie. He's in the top 10. And that's 7th place, Nick Afford in that 22 car. P8, we're running Keith Fallon in that 09. P9 is Derek Showing in 87.
P10 is going to be Brian Clark. He's racing out of New England there, so he's staying warm on the track. P11 is going to be Nick Shell out of Black Bullet Racing. P12 is going to be Zachary Compton out of James Journey Racing. On to the next page here, we're looking at Nick Shell in P11. Zachary Compton, we just mentioned him. P13 is going to be Jason Monteville. P14 is going to be Matthew Wilson. P15 is going to be Nicholas Compton. P16 is going to be Rye Lewis. P17, we just saw him on the track there in the 23 car. That's Alex Tallman. P18 is going to be Tyler Goodwin. P19 is going to be Kelly Thomas. And bringing up the rear of the field here at Chicagoland is going to be Bob Carroll in that 27 car in P20. And that is our starting grid here in the High Octane Sim Series. We are live on 10-4 broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitch. So if you are liking what you're seeing so far, definitely go give us a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Make sure all your fans and viewers are keeping tabs on you while you race this. As we see the pace car pull off, we're about to be green here at Chicagoland. Here we go, boys. Let's go racing.
And I'm being told that the KPM guys, Stafford Enterprises, are running a tribute to Kevin Harvick tonight, as they're calling it Happy Hour. So we're looking at the, I believe 2 cars, and that's the 89 and the 42, I believe, so far.
Looks like we have action already on the front stretch. We are 1 lap in. We already have a caution, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like 2 cars did spin out on the front stretch there as we were crossing the line for lap 2. Man, this action is high octane. They weren't kidding. That is a wreck on lap 1, Mike. And in our last broadcast with a different series, we had no caution. So we had our first caution of the night on lap 1. Man.
All right, here we go. See the 03, we're talking about Happy Harvick. Oh, looks like he got just a little bit loose in the tri-oval on his own.
Just a tad loose there, and unfortunately there's nowhere to go for the cars there, Mike.
Definitely. It looks like he took the 81 out with him. Looks like he's going to come down pit road, check some damage. So far we have no takers coming on pit road. Let's do. The 23. Got a couple guys coming down pit road.
That's Tallman in 23.
The 2 cars that were in the accident, the 81 of Zachary Compton, I should say.
Straight out of Compton. But that was high octane action already, Mike, and as we have a second to do so as this first caution, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. If we can go ahead and do that here. Give a big shout out to our first sponsor of the night is going to be Captain Jack's Smokehouse, a barbecue steak, Amelia Island. They have been around since looks like 2019 there. Captain Jack's Smokehouse. Man, that's making me hungry just saying the name. So if you want to get some great barbecue, some great steaks, definitely go give them a check. I'm sure they have a Facebook, phone number, all that good stuff. Go get your barbecue, man. Ooh, I'm hungry already just talking about it, Mike.
Oh, definitely. I think I can
oh my goodness.
Place an order online. Hopefully I deliver all the way to Pennsylvania.
The DoorDash, they'll probably send it to you on a plane. But, man, just saying the name makes me hungry, so I can only imagine how good they are. So give a shout out to the rest of our sponsors here tonight. Going to be High Octane Sim Racing is one of them as well, who is our title sponsor of the night here. Go give them a check. They have a Facebook page, all that cool stuff. Again, this is our first race here with High Octane Sim Racing, but already we can see that the action is very competitive. These are drivers that really care about the racing, really care about the competitiveness and the fairness of these races. So, and it is a joy to be here with High Octane Sim Racing. Definitely do want to give a shout out to all those sponsors that make this possible for this series to go on without a hitch. And they make it possible for all these things the drivers love as far as broadcasting and all that good stuff. So we'll take a look here. We are 4 laps in here at Chicagoland. We had our first caution on lap 1.5, I suppose you could say. Coming across the line to take the flag for 2. As you see, the lights are off at the pace car here. You'll see him pull off. They give a little love tap there at the back of the pace car, trying to push him out of the way. That's all right. You'll see him pull off here coming around 4, and we are going to go back to green here, Mike.
Definitely looking forward to it. Got the 24 Riley Hoots in the lead, followed by Matthew Batbay. And that
Keep an eye out for those 2 drivers.
As we were talking about before at the start of the race, got 2 cars here running some tributes to Kevin Harvick. And here we go. We are green.
Green, 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 green.
As we see, drivers are trying to use that apron a little bit to try to grant some speed. But doing that does eat up your tires just a tad bit. As we are side by side in the middle of the pack.
Drivers tonight will have 4 sets of tires to go along with that, Mike. As you see the leader take him down into 3, as you see those tires tap that white line there at the apex of 3 and 4 coming around into the front stretch. It is still H.O.S.S as your race leader in that 24 car, with Daddy right behind him as well. And Bledsoe in that 42 has run through the field, and he is up to P3 right behind them, running that Kevin Harvick tribute paint scheme. Give a shout out to Kevin Harvick, man. This might be his last year in the Cup Series. Who knows, though? He could keep pushing, but he has been in it for a while now. So give good shout out to Kevin Harvick there for one of the last vets still in NASCAR. So special tribute to him tonight here in the High Octane Sim Series here at Chicagoland, and it is going to be H.O.S.S going to be taking the line here 8 laps in. And as we take a look at the action here, Mike, and we kind of take a look at the strategies of these drivers, we do a lot of super speedway races as commentators. So I wanted to ask you, at a track like this, what is it going to be? Tandem racing? Is it going to be working with a draft partner, or what kind of strategies come into play here at Chicagoland?
Chicagoland, it's not going to be tandem racing. Super speedways, you got people always on your bumper. This is more of a 1.5-mile track. It's going to be more of the draft is going to play a little bit of a factor, but it will not play the big factor. The big factor is using the brake. You're going to want trail braking in that corner to make sure it gets down to that white line, and you're definitely not using the apron in a trioval because that definitely does eat up your tires. We did talk about at the start of the race that we have a limited set of tires for these guys. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see towards the late of the run who's going to take tires, who's not going to take tires, and the tire wear. As we see the 45 making a run on the outside of the 62.
That is a big run there. Risky move there to go 3 wide into...
87 got a little squirrely and scraped the wall a little bit.
Gave it a little love tap there on the corner. Oh, 2 cars are loose right behind, and we do have a spin out. Is there going to be a caution? Looks like he's going to keep it clean. Nobody else is going to be involved in this action here. That is the 7 car of Goodwin there. Just got a little loose by himself. That's all right. The action continues there. It's still H.O.S.S in that 24 car leading the field here. We are 11 laps in here on 10-4 Broadcasting, bringing you the High Octane Sim Series here. This is race 6 here in the season at Chicagoland. And it's still H.O.S.S in that 24 car, and Badby right behind him as well. You see that tandem really building up there at the front. You also see that 45 car kind of creep up right behind him as well. And it has been a minute since I've seen that 45 car on the track there. I know Kurt Busch brought it out of retirement here this past year in the Cup Series. But other than that, I do remember the original driver of the 45, and that was Adam Petty. So rest in peace to him. But that 45, it is good to see that. But he has a lot of speed coming behind him. He looks like he's going to be passed for that 2nd place there on the outside lane. It really looks like the draft comes into play here, Mike. If you don't have a draft partner, you can get really left out on Revis Island there.
Actually, that was for 5th place to be 4th place to be exact, not 2nd place. We don't want to hurt 89's chances of winning.
No, either way, that 45 looks like he is losing a lot of spots there without a drafting partner. So looks like he's going to drop down, I believe, down into 6th place there. So dropping 4 spots in less than a lap and a half. So that's rough to not have a draft partner there to get left out on Revis Island. But it looks like somebody might be tandeming up behind him, but no change in the lead there, ladies and gentlemen. It's still H.O.S.S in that 24 car as we take a look at the back of the pack here. And we are 180 laps here at Chicagoland, so a long way to go here at Chicagoland, so a lot more action to go. We had a caution about a lap and a half into this action. As you see a couple drivers get a little loose there on 4 coming around the front stretch here. What is it, Mike, about these corners that these drivers are already getting a little slippery in these corners?
The one thing I can think of is how aggressive they're going with the tires. If you have your steering lock, I should say. Sorry, a little confused between the new next gen car and these cars. These cars still have the steering lock capabilities, so you're looking at depending um, the way you're turning your wheel, you could be using more wheel or less wheel depending on where your steering lock is. Normally at these tracks, you want to set between 14 and 16 at least, but then again, it's up to your depending on what kind of force feedback you're running. Um, Speaking of feedback, the 27 car looks like he's up 9 spots since the start of the race. So we definitely have our biggest mover so far. With the 45, looks like, oh, we got a big pack up here. So far, fighting for second place. And that 45 is down 6 spots. Our biggest loser of the race so far. Ooh, we got a car on the wall. The 09 scraped the wall and coming in turn 1.
Not sure what's happening with that 45 car there, Mike. Losing a lot of positions there. Maybe just can't find a friend to work with, or just, like I said, left out on Rivas Island, but losing a lot of positions here in this race. And that's not good to see early on here in this action here at Chicagoland as we cross the line. 18 laps here at Chicagoland at the High Octane Sim Series, as the leader is still Hoots and Batby up at the top there, but a lot of competition out of the rookie in tonight's field, and that's Alford in that 22 car, really giving them a run for their money there. But as you see, kind of strategies building up between teammates here. Keep an eye out for Hammer Time Gaming, who is the team leader in points here. Keep an eye out for that team to dominate in tonight's race, but also keep an eye out for those Kevin Harvick tribute cars. So big shout out to Kevin Harvick, and big shout out for those guys for running that tribute to them. As you see, we are 19 laps in here. It's still Hoots in that 24 car leading the way, and Badby is in that second place position there.
And just remember that in mile and a half, we're not looking for tandem. We're just looking for just a little bit of a draft. So basically, they do have to, let go of the gas on entry. This is not like the next gen cars. We were almost full throttle on the corners. As for single file, so looking at the 42 here, trying to make his move back up to the front. That was teammate right there in second place. And I believe that's the 07, 87, I should say. 87 there. Looks like he got a little bit squirrely on the bottom, losing a little bit of spots. It's like the 87 and 62 are teammates. Again, I apologize. We're still a little new to this. We'll get your teams and names correctly here, hopefully, for next race. As we have a battle for the lead. As that 89 is looking on the inside. And that rookie. That rookie. Come on now. Top 10. Start. Here we go. He's making a move.
The rookie has come out to play. The Rook has come out to dominate here at Chicagoland, running in P3 right now, putting in a top 5 qualifying position as well. So whoever this rookie is, he is giving these boys a run for their money here in week 6 in the High Octane Sim Series here in the Cup Series. Do you want to give a shout out to Badby there? I was just learning about him as we were talking about the rookie there. He's actually only 16 years old in that 89 car, so give a shout out to him. He's racing out of Palm Bay, Florida. Big shout out to him. He's racing really strong so far in this first quarter of this race here. Kind of trying to find a line there. Oh, we get a little love tap there in the quarter panel, but he is keeping it straight there as we're crossing the line here. 24 laps in here, Mike.
Looks like we got, as we're going through here, the 87, 62, and the 9 are all teammates. So definitely the 9 is trying to help the 62 catch up front. As we got a pass on an 87. For P8. As we have another second place. New second place here. Looking at the 22, the rookie. He qualified P7 to start this race, and now he's looking for P2.
Huge move there, and that is a huge confidence builder to get that qualifying session out of the way. Qualifying, like you mentioned, P7. Worked his way up 5 spots already and is running in the top 3 for the first quarter of this race, and has really been battling for the lead between Hoots And Badby there, as you see, Badby has slipped down into 5th position there, kind of lost his draft line there. And you're going to see that in tonight's race. We've already seen it out of the 45 car and now out of Badby there, where if you get out of the draft or you lose your buddies there, you tend to lose a lot of spots.
Looks like we had a couple cars go off track. Let's see if I can pull it up right quick. Oh, we had contact with the 45.
Oof. Some
And
aggressive
the
racing there
62.
between those two cars.
I believe if we look at it again, he scrapes the wall coming at it too. So 45 looks like he's getting a little tight on exit, which means he's using too much throttle.
We've seen that 45 car struggle just a tad here in this first quarter of this race here. But that is unfortunate for him. Maybe they can get it back together and get that thing running the way it should be, Mike, because we've seen lost the draft line. Now you're running into cars in the back of the field. Not a great way to start this race here at Chicagoland. As Hoots is our race leader with Bledsoe in that 42 car. Right behind them, we see a different change in the cars behind them. We see Medina in that P3, and also Badby has climbed his way back up into P4, and then our rookie in that 22 car is P5, and that brings out your top 5 there. 27 laps into the race here at Chicagoland as the leader takes him down into 3. As you see those leaders trying to get down into that white line. Oh, they actually didn't dip down into the line there, Mike. Is that something, as you see, as the race will go on, do you see the drivers kind of take that high side a little bit more?
Yeah, towards the later run, tires are definitely getting heated up. Cars definitely getting tight, so they're going to be moving up the lane in the corners just to try to cool those tires down, not overdo it. I believe we're coming to a stage break here shortly. As I believe we see some people coming down pit road. I don't know if this is a scheduled stop or not, but my reports are showing me that coming down pit road so far it was Bob Carroll and Derek Showing has so far come in pit lane. And we got more drivers entering pit lane. As we focus back on the lead pack here. 24 car you see is getting a little tight on exit.
Mike, you'll see a stage break at around lap 50. That'll be the end of stage 1 here in tonight's action at Chicagoland. So you might see the boys trying to get some green flag pit stops in, try to get that strategy out of the way, as we only have less than 19 laps here to go in stage 1 here at Chicagoland. We're bringing you the High Octane Sim Series here live on 10-4 Broadcasting. We broadcast live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Go check us out there. But we are 31 laps into the action here at Chicagoland, and it is Hoots is our leader. He has been running in the top 3 most of the race. In this action here tonight, we've seen a couple guys compete with him at the top, but kind of lose their draft lines and get shuffled back as we take a look in car camera view here, brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. This is our second place car, and that's Bledsoe in that 42.
And as we see, going down the backstretch, he's going to be staying high in 3 and 4. 156 in the corners before he gets right back on the throttle.
Alan Bledsoe in that 42 car. He is racing out of Springfield, Missouri. He's 28 years old, so he is a little bit more older than Batby, 16. So keep an eye out for him. He is racing out of Missouri. Big shout out to the Midwest there. And he is putting it on here tonight, Mike. He has kept that car in the top 5 to start this race out here. We still have a long way to go here in tonight's action here at Chicagoland. But he is doing a great job keeping that car clean and keeping it in that lead pack. as you see a battle for first as Riley Hoots takes him down into 1, coming around into 2. It's Alan Bledsoe right behind him as well. You saw him kind of let off a little bit. Excuse me, I believe that was 4 there. Gonna cross the line. Nope, that was a back stretch. Getting a little confused there. It's all good though. It's no confusion at the top of the pack here. It's still Hoots in that 24 car leading the way. Gonna cross the line. We're gonna be 35 laps into this action here at Chicagoland with Bledsoe in that 42 right behind him. But it looks like he's got a partner in that. I think it's Batby. He's already climbed his way up to P3. So rocking those Kevin Harvick tribute paint schemes here tonight. See if those boys have anything for the leader. A lot of speed in this lead pack, though, Mike.
Definitely. Steph, 5 car breakaway as a 42 just nips the wall just a bit on entry into 3. And his teammate looks like is trying to run him down.
Yeah, you saw his teammate kind of think about a move there, but realize it might not be the best one for him, and it might have cost them a little speed. As you see Medina creep up on the inside of those 2 teammates, he might take that position away from them. But he's going to have no help in the draft, so he might be forced to have to file right back in between those good wrench paint scheme cars. We are seeing in tonight's action that if you don't have a draft partner or somebody to work with, you can get left out on what I like to call Revis Island. I'd like to give a shout out to Darrell Revis there, one of the best corners I guess in the NFL history. I do like his saying of Revis Island. I like to use it in these NASCAR races, Mike, because it does happen. You can get left out on an island all by yourself if you don't have a drafting partner or any kind of help. You try to make a move or you try to take a different line on the lap, you can get really left by yourself.
Oh, definitely. Looks like we got some people on pit road. Looks like I believe Kelly Thomas and that 51 throwback to Kevin Harvick as well.
See some green flag pit stops here out of the drivers, but no change at the top of the pack. It is still Hoots leading the way in that 24 car with Bledsoe in that 42 right behind him, and Batby and Medina is bringing up 3 and 4, and then Clark is in 5th, but he's a little further away from that lead pack of those 4 cars there, but I'm sure we'll see everything get shuffled back out here as we cross the line with less than 11 laps to go here in stage 1, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that first caution we had about a lap and a half in, we haven't seen any more cautions, Mike.
I think we're going to have maybe one more caution. I believe there's said coming to a competition caution, I should say, or a stage break here at lap 50. So we're looking about 10 laps till that. People are getting some splash and go. But we do have people coming down pit road.
You have a few leaders coming down pit road here, Mike, and I always love to ask on these broadcasts here, because you are an iRacer yourself, we don't see the pit crews jumping over the wall, we don't see lug nut guns or lug nuts being changed or tire changes, but how important and how strategic are these pit stops to these drivers?
Oh, especially a track like this is definitely very important. Getting on pit road, hitting your marks, hitting the box correctly. We've seen people not take tires. So that's definitely a key. It's like in pit lane for 7 seconds in pit lane. So we'll see how this is going to play out. People not taking tires, I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. We'll definitely see as we have a race leader as the 23. We were talking about him in qualifying. And that Dr. Pepper throwback, I believe we're throwing that back at car. I think it's...
It might be a tribute to Bubba Wallace, because I know Bubba Wallace races that Dr. Pepper 23 machine for 2311 Racing in the Cup Series, so I'm not sure if they're a local Bubba Wallace fan there. But that we do appreciate that 23 car being out on the track. It makes me think of Michael Jordan, and we are in the March Madness time of basketball right now, so big shout out to that 23 car of Tallman there. As we see, Hoots is back in that second position there, is going to pass Tallman, who is on pit road. Is going to take that lead back here with less than 7 laps to go here in stage 1. I believe 8 laps. 8 laps to go here in stage 1 here at the High Octane Sim Series here at Chicagoland. And it is Hoots in that 24 car, Batby in that 89, and then he's got his teammate Bledsoe in that 42 right behind him. And this is that lead pack we have seen the majority of this first quarter of this race here. Mike, do you see anything changing throughout this race?
I do. I think this is everybody's trying to get a feel for everybody. See how they're handling the tires. Remember, we've seen people not take tires on pit road, which is definitely going to hurt them because they're going to get tighter and tighter on exit. And we've seen the 45 hit the wall out of 2. So I believe if you not take tires, it's definitely going to be a factor in this race.
It could be, but as you mentioned, we are going to have a competition caution at lap 50 because that will be the conclusion of stage 1 here at Chicagoland. No change in the lead though. They are separating themselves from P4 though, because it looks like Clark in that 31 is 2 seconds behind the top 3 cars there. So getting a little spread out here at Chicagoland, but only one car is a lap down. It looks like Monteville in the P20 in that 08 car is 2 laps down here. So the rest of the field is still in this race. We are 45 laps into this race here at Chicagoland. It's still Hoots in that 24 car leading the way, digging him down into 1.
Seat 89 trying to make a move on the inside.
Battle for the lead on the backstretch here. It might be time for those good wrench cars to take over the lead. Oh, as you see him file right back in behind Hoots. It looks like he is trying to play out some strategies here to take the stage victory. As you see him creep down into the inside, into the corner, he might have the speed to take the lead. Goes down, way down on the apron as the 24 car tries to follow him, but it's just going to be too much speed there. As you might see a lead change.
And we do.
They're still racing side by side, Mike. This is quite the battle for the lead here between Hoots and Badby and that 24 in that 89 car, and they are doing it solo dolo because Bledsoe in that 42 car, his teammate, he is a little further behind, so he is playing no role in this battle for the lead.
I believe I think the 24 is teammates. They both all have good wrench cars. So looks like we got 3 teammates, 1, 2, and 3. Meanwhile, in P4, I see somebody coming. And he's coming quick. Brian Clark. In that 31 car. And going over his pit stop. Looks like he did take tires on that pit stop. So fresh Goodyear Eagles on that.
Is really showing those tires are giving him a lot of speed there because just less than a couple laps ago he was more than 3 seconds behind this lead pack between the teammates there, 1, 2, 3. So he is definitely eating up a lot of time, but it looks like he might run out of time here in stage 1 as we are going to be less than 2 laps to go here in stage 1 at Chicagoland as our leader is in that. The Good Wrench machines have led the way so far here at Chicagoland. Going to be the last lap here in stage 1. So who can take home this stage victory? They are all teammates, but I'm sure they want those stage points, Mike.
Definitely. Stage points is key in championship wins.
As you see, the teammate of Badby kind of easing that outside as we're coming around the corner here. We'll see if we see a change for the lead. Looks like Hoots is kind of pulling away from that second place car there of Badby. I don't know. It's going to be. Looks like Hoots in that 24 car is going to be your stage 1 winner there.
I think we're going to finish left. There we go. Caution.
This is our competition caution here, Mike. And as we have a second to do so, I'll see if I can't get our race leader in here for a quick interview. What a race so far, Mike.
Definitely. So far exciting. We've seen qualifying how good the times were. This race is definitely something to going to be play out something different.
If we can't get a quick chat with our race leader here Hey, Riley, this is Will and Mike up in the booth here. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, man, you guys are really putting it on for Kevin Harvick and those good wrench machines, man. What do you think's been the key so far for you guys dominating this race?
I actually have been really surprised with how the lane moved up the track. So far, it's been about protecting the outside. I feel like as long as you can maintain your pace up there, you can pretty well defend just about any charge from another car. So that's been surprising to see, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh, man, it has been competitive action from the beginning. I think we had a caution about a lap and a half in here, man. We saw your teammate kind of ease your quarter panel a few times there. Is that you guys kind of keeping a strategy to sticking together there at the lead pack?
Actually, no strategy at all. We've kind of just ended up racing each other, but I trust my teammates more than anyone to race me. So
There we go. They know how to give off and kind of keep it clean a little bit there. So kind of looking at stage two, I know Mike, the co-host here, he was kind of talking about the tire wear a little bit. None of you guys took tires there in that last green flag pit stop. What do you think is going to be the strategy here creeping into stage two?
honestly think it's going to be more of the same, just a product of only having 4 extra sets to use in the race. I'd rather have the 2 sets going into the final stage so I can take tires both times when I pit. Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
There we go. And before we let you get back to the action there, we're speaking with Riley Hootier. He is our stage one winner here at Chicagoland. Before we let you go, man, we always love to give you guys a chance to shout out any of your sponsors, anybody that you might have watching here tonight.
Well, first and foremost, I want to shout out James. He is our team owner, and he's unfortunately not able to race tonight, but he's the one that painted up all these Kevin Harvick schemes for us this week, and none of this would be possible without him, so thankful for him.
Awesome, man, and good luck the rest of the way, man. We'll be keeping an eye out on those good wrench machines, and hopefully we'll speak to you at stage two.
All right, thanks, guys, for coming on board. Appreciate you.
Of course. And that was Riley Hoots. He is our stage one winner here at Chicagoland. Keep an eye out for them at the lead pack there to kind of throw down the gauntlet in the good wrench machines. They are racing those tribute paint schemes for Kevin Harvick, and they really laid down some fast times there, Mike, to start this race. You didn't really see anything from the rest of the field.
Definitely. It was the 3 cars, 24, 89 to 42. Definitely leaving a mark on the field.
They certainly are.
But we can't forget there is one more teammate in the field, sitting a couple spots back behind him. So definitely it's going to be key come here in the second stage.
Definitely keep an eye out for that. As you said, we spoke with Riley Hoots just a second ago. He said there's no strategy between the teammates there, but we know as well as everybody else knows that once you get hungry there, teammates or not, you want to take home that victory, and keep an eye out for those cars, and maybe we'll see one of those good wrench machines in victory lane here at Chicagoland. As you see, the lights of the pace car are off as we are about to start stage 2, maybe?
A little too short.
No, not yet.
Now
Maybe next time around here.
Now we're coming to 2 to go. One thing that you see in NASCAR that we do not have here in iRacing is the choose code. That is something that has not been added into the series or the sim just yet. I believe they are working on it from what I'm being told. But the leaders and everybody cannot choose their lanes to be either top or bottom depending on what position they're in. Some leagues do have leaders can choose outside or inside, but that does give a little hefty hard time on the league officials, especially if there's blank flags needed. But looks like the 24 is definitely going to be your race leader here, and looks like he's going to be starting on the outside.
And Mike, if you could, what was the fastest lap there in stage 1? Do you have access to that information? And what kind of lap times were those leaders running?
We're looking at 30.7s, 30.9s as we are green flag.
Green, 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 green. Stage 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go for it.
as we are side by side. For teammates, are side by side. Looks like we see a pass for third place here. The 23 car getting past the 89. Ooh, he slides up in front of him. 89 now moves back to fourth. And he's looking to lose another spot as we're looking for a new race leader here in that 23.
He is really living up to the number on his car. He is out for greatness here in tonight's race in that 23 machine. He wants to put that thing in victory lane. He wants to put those good wrench cars in his rear view mirror as he creeps up into second position there coming down the backstretch here. He is throwing that tail right in the front fender of those guys behind him. He is really digging for that lead. Taking a look at Alex Tallman here. He is battling for that lead there, trying to take it away from H.O.S.S. As you see him go up on that quarter panel, but wisely file right back in there. We've seen so far in this first quarter of this race here, ladies and gentlemen, that if you don't have a draft partner or you don't have somebody to work with, you might be in trouble. So good strategy for him in that 23 car, whipping that tail right in front of these cars to give a good push out of there.
As we see the 9, David Medina, making a move on the inside.
Racing out of O-Town, shout out to the Magic, shout out to Orlando City. He is holding it down, racing for Funky Cold Medina. I love that team name out of David Medina in that 9 machine. He has been really consistent in this race so far. Really top 5 most of the race here. If you get a top 5 finish there in stage 1, but as you see, if he doesn't have a partner there, he might lose a lot of positions. And I like to call that middle lane there the danger zone, because once you get in that middle lane, nothing good can happen for you. You can lose positions, you can get loose, you take out other cars. But we're not seeing that out of Dave Medina there as he's holding that outside lane there. And as we were speaking with Riley H.O.S.S there, we were 61 laps here into the race at Chicagoland, bringing the High Octane Sim Series here live on 10-4 Broadcasting. And speaking with Riley H.O.S.S there, he was really interested about how the line changed to the high side, Mike. And that was one of the things we were keeping an eye out there in the first quarter. As we see a battle for the lead there, he's digging down. Tallman's trying to get in that inside corner panel there. He keeps digging for that lead. But he was speaking about how the line changed, Mike. Is that something we'll see as the race goes on?
Most definitely. Once the track gets well rubbered in, it definitely will be changing the line of the track. You see that little black line going in the corners on exit as well. That's just a rubber buildup, and it's moving the line up higher. So as you see, the drivers are racing higher and higher, definitely getting getting more speed out of it on the outside line. And also they're keeping their tires cool by not running that inside line. As we've seen, the 23 lost 2 spots.
How does that song go, Micah? You take me higher and higher. Not sure, but we are seeing everybody running that high side line there. So far in tonight's action, we are 62 laps into the race here at Chicagoland. And as you just mentioned, Tallman really was battling for the lead there, but you saw all those good wrench teammates stack up and really work together to kind of block Tallman out of even trying for that lead anymore. As you see, the leader, Riley H.O.S.S, is taking him down into the corner onto the backstretch here. He is followed by his teammates there in the Good Wrench machines. They are racing a tribute paint scheme for Kevin Harvick in tonight's action. As you see, Riley takes him down into 3. Oh no, Eric Bledsoe gets a little loose entering the corner. Alan Bledsoe gets a little loose coming down into the corner there. You'll see the cars bunching up there, which cannot always bode well for these lead paths.
Especially when you have teammates on the inside.
Really competitive action. There are a few names that we haven't shouted out yet in tonight's action. They have worked their way up into this field. I believe that is Lewis in that 2020 machine. Rye Lewis in that 20 machine racing out of Kingsland. Doing a great job there in that machine. We haven't seen a lot of him tonight so far, but he has put that car up in that lead pack, so really in a great position to race for the lead as the leaders are creeping up on a lapped car here, Mike.
So far, your biggest mover of the race is the 23 of Alex Tallman. As we're still side by side, midway pack. As we were talking about the Goodwinch cars, you see that 51, another teammate to the leaders. Trying to look on the inside, trying to work his way up towards the front.
Do give a shout out to Riley Hoots, who's racing in that Goodwrench machine, in that 24 machine. He's actually racing out of Melbourne, Florida. So another Florida boy in tonight's action. He's actually right up the road from me here in Vero Beach. So that is awesome to see another Florida boy in tonight's action here. He's only 22 years old. So a lot of young guys in tonight's field mixed in with a lot of veterans in this sport. So that makes for awesome competitive action, Mike.
And I believe we had a little incident here. That's a 7. Looks like the 03 got loose into 2. And the 7 did not hit nothing. If that's something you want to say, crew just want to say, you did not hit nothing. As we go back up front, it's like the 24, 42, and 23 have broken away.
Yeah, still Riley Hoots in that 24 machine. Ladies and gentlemen, no change here at the front of this pack here. It is the Goodwrench machines really dominating this race from start to finish. Riley Hoots was our stage 1 winner here. We are 70 laps in here at Chicagoland. Live on 10-4 broadcasting, we are bringing you the High Octane Sim Series. This is our first race with this series here, so we appreciate you guys bringing us on board for tonight's action. And man, we have been in for an exciting race so far, Mike. I know the last race me and you called, there were no cautions, and in tonight's action we had a caution about a lap and a half in, so already been really competitive so far. We've seen lead changes, we've seen cars creep up, fade back, so really exciting as the cars are filing up a little bit here. We've got about, I believe, 29 laps to go here in stage 2. So we'll see if this pace stays the same, as Riley just seems to just be pulling away from the rest of the field.
Looking at middle of the pack, Kelly Thomas at 54, making a move on the 22. Nick Offord. And if I recall, Nick was up front towards the first half of the race, and then he fell back just a little bit.
Yeah, what a huge improvement out of Riley Hoots there in that 24 machine. Taking a look back at Atlanta last week here in the High Octane Sim Series, actually Riley finished 32 laps down at that track. So what an improvement from week to week out of that driver, the 24 machine there. Also, big shout out to Matthew Badby, because that was our winner last week. He led over, I believe it was 22 laps in that race last week at Atlanta. So putting in another great run here, running top 5 so far in tonight's race. We'll see if he can keep that machine in the lead pack. So a lot of great runs out of these guys, because also Nathaniel Tallman finished in P4 last week's race, led 54 laps, actually led the most laps in that action last week at Atlanta. keep an eye out for him. He's also racing really strong in this race here tonight. But big shout out to Riley Hoots for that huge week-to-week improvement there at the 24 machine.
Starting to see enter pit road. I figure this is about 39 laps per. So it looks like we're in maybe about 10 laps. We'll be seeing people ducking down pit road. So far, our biggest mover of the race is the 23 with Alex Tallman. And our biggest non-mover is Kevin Bullock in that 62. Still early on. I believe he can come back up and get top 10 out of this race. Car's still clean, which is good.
That is always a good thing when you keep those cars clean, Mike. Doesn't no more extra expenses for the team, I suppose, as these boys only have 4 sets of tires in tonight's action. As we're keeping an eye on that 45 machine there, he is running in 9th positions. Oh no, we got a car loose on the front stretch, but no crash there. Awesome job saving that machine there, going on a little Tokyo drift. He kept it clean. He kept the machine on the track. So great racing out of them. Must be running some dirt on console or on the PC because he's used to sliding that thing sideways. As we see more action in the 22 car, we have our third caution of the race here. Out of the corner of our view there, we saw the 22 car, who's been racing really strong in tonight's action, actually get loose and spin out. Oh man, we're going to have to check out that 10-4 broadcast and replay to see exactly what happened out of that 22 machine.
Ooh, looks like the 45 clipped him just a tad bit.
And I believe they were battling for top 10 positions there, Mike.
See if we can go on board and see exactly what happened.
These in-car camera reviews are brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. Taking a look here, we have our third caution of the race here. I believe we're lap 78, I believe, 77, around that range there. 78, right on the money there. As you see, most of the field are taking that advantage to get those tires, to get that fuel there, Mike. And as we have an opportunity to do so, do want to give a big shout out to our sponsors here in tonight's action. That is a High Octane Sim Series is our title sponsor in tonight's action. This is our first race with them. We are excited to be here. It has been exciting so far, so can't wait for next week's action. Do you want to give a shout out to that steakhouse we were talking about, Mike? Oh man, I'm so hungry. Captain Jack's Smokehouse, barbecue and steak. Where else can you go to a smokehouse and get barbecue and steaks? Oh, it's only usually just barbecue or steak. This place has both. Go check them out. Captain Jack's Smokehouse. I'm sure they have a Facebook. I'm sure they got Google. Go check them out. DoorDash, whatever you gotta do. Man, I'm hungry. That sounds awesome, Mike. And one more shout out to Octane, who is another sponsor here in tonight's action here in the High Octane Sim Series. Big shout out to those sponsors for making all of this possible in tonight's action. And again, big thank you for the High Octane Sim Series for having us on board in tonight's action here at Chicagoland. We're having a blast so far, Mike, and we'll see if those Good Wrench boys can keep those cars out in the lead pack.
Most doubtful. You know, one thing that I was thinking about with them pitting this time around?
What's that?
It's going to definitely be, what, 30? It's 39 laps, I figure, on a tank of fuel. So we're looking at the next caution. People could stay out and gamble. So this could definitely be a gambling race.
And it will be a gamble if you decide to stay out. Or if you decide to take a little bit longer in the pits and make sure you're all suited and booted for the rest of the race, you got all your tires, you got all your fuel, you might be that car that has the speed here at the end. As we saw in those last pit stops, the car that took all 4 tires is the car that worked its way back up here. I believe that might have been the 23 machine. I know a couple cars took 4 tires there, and we really saw a lot of speed out of those cars. Clark was one of those guys that took 4 tires. He's kind of fallen back a little bit in tonight's action down to P16. But we saw that speed out of that 4 tire decision there. As you see the cars creeping around here. We're lap 80 here at Chicagoland, bringing you live action out of the High Octane Sim Series. And Mike, man, as an iRacer yourself, how enjoyable are these type of races where it's just nonstop action from lap 1 until now?
This is the type of league you want to run. You know, side by side, competitive times, competitive drivers, competitive attitude.
And speaking with Riley Hoots there, he kind of gave us the inside scoop, but didn't want to give us too much there. He said there was no strategy between the good wrench cars. Not sure if I believe him on that, because it seems like every time those boys get up to the front, they are a three-way heading steam train to the finish. Because every time somebody tries to creep up there to try to take the lead for them, they come together like the Power Ranger metamorphosis from back in the day, and they keep everybody from taking that lead from those good wrench machines. So keep an eye out for that and the rest of the action here in the High Octane Sim Series, as it looks like we will be only one more lap here under the caution flag here, Mike.
Looks like we are going green this time by.
There we go. And as we're about to go green here, Mike, who's a driver that you have an eye on? The rest, we're gonna have 19 laps to go here in stage 2. Who are you keeping an eye out for in stage 2?
Not a fan of the 23 because of Bubba Wallace, but I think the 23 because of Ryan Truex back in the day for BK Racing, if you recall. But
Oh yeah.
I think the underdog, I'm going to go for that 22 car. As we are green flag.
Green, 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 green.
And the 24 definitely had a good start. As we are side by side for third place. The 23 of Alex Tallman.
Ooh, getting a little loose there on the back stretch there out of the 23 machine. But Riley Hoots, man, he is shot out of those restarts like a cannon. Every restart we've had so far in tonight's action, he has really got to jump on the rest of the field there and kind of just taking the field with him anywhere he wants to go, just dominating this race. You see a lot of action, though, in that backpack. These boys are really racing for position. Doesn't matter if you're in the top 10 or the top 15, top 20. You're still racing for those positions there. We still have over 100 laps to go in tonight's action. So
That's
anything can happen,
wide
Mike.
in the back. Oh, boy. 48.
Ooh.
Just snipped the 22. But here's the thing. Seeing as how we had everybody came down, got some fresh tires, racing to the next stage. Trying to get every single spot possible.
And Mike, who's in that purple machine? Because that was an awesome move there on that 4 wide to dip down into the inside, take all those positions. I believe that's the 27 machine there of Carroll in that in that purple machine there. Bob Carroll racing in that Chevy number 27. You saw a really cool move there. Oh, as you see a car bounce off the wall there all by themselves. As we're keeping an eye on the 27 there of Bob Carroll, it was Nicholas Compton who just gave the wall there a little love tap.
Looks like it was the 09. Definitely
Keith
lost
Fallen.
Lost 10
racing
spots.
at it. Ooh, and he is racing that Captain Jack Smokehouse machine there in the 09, racing out of Tifton, Georgia. That is Keith Fallen there, gave the wall a little love tap there, but that's all right. He has plenty laps to build that lead or build that speed back up there in that machine there. I do want to give a special shout out to Captain Jack Smokehouse as we're keeping an eye on that car. We're taking a look back here at the lead pack, and there has been no change, Mike. It is still the Good Wrench machine leading the way there, and it's still that 23, that Dr. Pepper, that's Tallman right there in P4, kind of just waiting their time, kind of just keeping it cool.
Speaking of that 27 car, making a move. He's just
And
blowing by the
here
field.
he comes, Mike. He is coming with a vengeance. He is madder than Kratos in God of War right now. He wants to take that lead from the rest of the pack. We saw him in 4 wide action go to the inside. He is careening by the rest of the field here. We'll see if he has the speed to take this lead from Riley Hoots up to the top of the pack.
As we have a caution, we're going to go back to our replay and check out, see what happened here.
Rev up that 10-4 broadcasting replay for you as we have our 4th caution of the night here at Chicagoland. In lap 88, we are less than 12 laps to go here in stage 2. Ooh, man, big action. It looks like the 22 was involved again. And is that at the at the 40? Trying to keep an eye on this. The 22, the 47.
87, 62, I believe that was. Yep, 22,
Yeah.
87, and 62.
And you see that 22 involved in a little mishap there on the backstretch there, but it looks like the 87 is going to get the worst of that.
It's like he just bounced off a couple people, but he's back in it. Doesn't look like he hit the wall.
We're back under caution here at Chicagoland, live on 10-4 broadcasting, bringing you live action out of the High Octane Sim Series here. As you see the guys, Mike, you just mentioned it's a little while ago. If we had a caution towards the end of the stage, you'll see the leaders start pitting again.
That wasn't really the leaders. That's more of middle of the pack. We've seen the 42 drop to the middle of the pack just a little bit there. A lot of people that are on fresh tires, like that 20 car. I'm seeing in my notes here, 20 car, 27 of Bob Carroll, and the 31 all took fresh tires on that last pit stop.
And that was something you had mentioned, Mike. I know it was the middle of the pack and not the leaders, but it might be some of those guys willing to take that gamble you mentioned a little while ago. If you pit now and you don't have to pit when that competition caution comes out, or even later than that, you might have that inside track to being out in the front when it's game time.
Definitely, we heard Riley talk about having 4 sets of tires, and he wants to make sure he has 2 sets for the last stage. If you take a set of tires between stage 1 and 2, like we've seen a couple of people do, you're definitely going to move your way up, but come later to run, you may not have that set later.
No, you got to be wise with those tires, just like the Cup drivers in real life here. Taking a look at this grid here, we still got Riley Hoots in P1 there. Got his teammate Badby right behind him. Lewis is a name that kind of crept up into this lead pack here in that 20 machine. Medina, I know Medina has some fans in the chat, so big shout out to Medina there racing the Funky Cold Medina. What a race name, or race team name there. Right behind him, we got Bob Carroll at 27 machine, just kind of flown by everybody in this last run here, Mike. Bob Carroll in that 27, then also that 23 car of Tallman has really raced a really competitive race here. And then Thomas, I believe, in that 51 machine. Clark in P8 has been another guy who's raced really competitive in tonight's action, kind of kept his car in that top 10 all night long. Kind of drifted back a little bit, but you see him back up in that action there. That 45 machine has been involved in a lot of action here in tonight's race, but really kept his car going forward. So you see him staff in that 45 in P9. Then bringing up the top 10 is going to be that 48 machine of Wilson. That's Darren Staff there. And then Matthew Wilson racing out of North Carolina. Take your shirts off, spin around your head like a helicopter, because he is racing out of North Carolina. As we're about to take the green flag here, we're going to have less than 9 laps to go in stage 2. Let's go racing.
As we see, the 20 car is on fresh tires. So will he be making a move towards the front, or is he going to try to save those tires?
You see that 20 car of Lewis creeping up, kind of go door to door there with that. Oh, as you see the 24 really drop down on the apron there. You'll see that out of the boys here at Chicagoland, but that might have just been a strategic move as Riley's still leading him down into the corner there, pulling away. You see him getting shot out of a cannon on these restarts here. And that is 20 in that Lewis machine. That is Ry Lewis really trying to compete with those Goodwrench machines there at the front. And you see that 27 of Bob Carroll looking for his opportunity. He says, I want the prize. I want to take that lead. This is mine. Shout out to the Blueberry Girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because he says, this is mine. I want this right now. And he is racing like it.
That's real. 3 wide for second. That 27 is coming. Wow. And we talked about the people staying out on the tires. We see the 09 there. Worked his way up front with fresh tires, and they want to overdrive it, because then you burn those set of tires. Cause in iRacing, you can't get those set of tires back if you see an F.
No, Mike, and we see a completely change in that lead pack there as Ry Lewis is our new race leader with Bob Carroll in that 27 machine right behind him and falling in that P3. You see those Goodwrench machines kind of dropped out of nowhere there. Riley Hoots is all the way down to 5th. Badby is down to 6th there. So those Goodwrench machines, they kind of ran into a brick wall there. And Bob Carroll, who is now our race leader in that 27 machine, and big shout out to him. He has made those moves, made those strategic inside moves to get by these cars here, and he is now our race leader. That's Bob Carroll in that 27 machine, and there's Ry Lewis right behind him in that 20. As you see these Goodwrench cars, Mike, getting a little shuffled into the pack here.
Yeah, we've seen people take tires on that second pit stop caution. So we see fresh tires up front. Well, people will still have old tires, but guess what? Towards the end of the race, when they need that set of tires, they have it.
And we have a new race leader here that has fallen in that 09 car. Really racing for the lead with Bob Carroll here. Is that the same 09 car we just saw have a little incident with the wall a little while ago?
That is. That's definitely new tires.
What a rebound for him. And Mike, that was something that you mentioned. If they throw on those new sets of Goodyear Eagle tires, you might have the speed to take the lead, and we are seeing it out of that 09 car. I'm going to call you Notre Dame for the rest of this broadcast.
We talked about Riley Hoots. He has dropped all the way down to P8. People that are in front are the ones that have taken fresh tires. But Riley Hoots is the first person on old tires. As they're getting racy there.
Whoa, big moves coming across the line here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have less than 2 laps to go, and it is fallen in that 09 car leading the field here in stage 2. He might take home this stage victory here, but he's going to have a lot of competition here with less than 2 laps to go, with Bob Carroll and Lewis right up. Ry Lewis in that 20 machine really racing there, but you see Fallen kind of pulling away from those rest of the cars.
Those new set of Goodyear Eagles definitely pulling away.
We have 1 lap to go, ladies and gentlemen, in stage 2 here at Chicagoland. We are live on 10-4 broadcasting. We're doing a high-octane sim series, as you see Fallen in that 09 car just pulling away on the backstretch here, and he's got Ry Lewis right behind him, and Clark has climbed his way back up into the top 3. Really clean racing out of him, Mike, as he's coming around 4. He is all by himself. He is getting that solo dolo. Cue up the Kid Cudi, because he is all by himself, and he's going to cross the line as our stage 2 winner here. Man, I am interested to speak with him, because what a race, what a stage 2 race out of him, Mike.
That was definitely crazy. I think, when we talked to him, he'd be saying about his what the tires he took, but I'm curious is how many sets of tires does he have left? Does he have enough to make it to the end?
We shall see. We'll give him a second as he's going to cross the line here at lap 101 of 180 here, ladies and gentlemen. We have less than 79 laps to go here at Chicagoland. Brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting, high-octane sim racing. Mike, I'm going to see if I can't get Fallen on the line here, see if we can't get you an interview with him. We are live on 10-4 broadcasting here. I'm going to see if we can't get our stage 2 winner into the booth here. Hey Keith, this is Will and Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy, man.
Alrighty, go ahead, Mike.
All right, we've seen you guys took tires in lap 88, I believe. Caution. How's the tire wear for you guys?
Tire wear ain't too bad. As your tire gets a little bit older, we have to back up the corner some. But the fall off isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Trying right side tires on this one right here, see what happens. But yeah, the Captain Jack's Chevrolet's been pretty good tonight. I just keep getting into the wall, so I got to clean that up. If I clean that up, I think I got a chance to run for the win.
My question to you is, do you feel any how much the track is changing over the course of the run?
As the run goes on, it feels like the car gets a little freer going into the turn and then tighter getting off of the turn. So you just got to be able to manage that.
Keith, I gotta jump in and ask you, man. We saw you sideswipe the wall and spin out by yourself. How'd you recover from that and take home the stage 2 victory?
Just kept it straight. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we saw you guys come up there. I think Bob Carroll come up there as well. You guys really took that lead out of those good wrench machines. And do you think you guys are going to hold it down for the rest of the race here?
We'll see how it happens. The other Riley Hoot seems to be pretty fast. I don't know where he's at now, but we'll have to see how it goes.
What do you think is to be the key to getting the victory here tonight?
Well, we've been having some long green flag runs, so I think fuel's going to play a strategy in this last stage and, conserving your tires. So I think that's going to be the most important thing in this last stage.
How many sets of tires do you have left? So you give up that little information.
I don't mind. I got 1.5. I got a left sides and then a full set.
Well, it looks like we're going to have about 75 laps to go here when we come back to the green flag.
Yep.
Before we let you go, Keith, we do give an opportunity for these drivers to give a shout out to any sponsors you may have or anybody that might be tuning in to the race here tonight. If you want to give a special shout out to any of those people.
I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Captain Jack Smokehouse, and then a big shout out to my mom. Her name's on the side of my car, and that's the reason why I have this paint scheme. She's battling small cell lung cancer and just had brain surgery a few weeks ago, but she's doing really good now, and this is for her.
Oh man, and our thoughts and prayers are with your mom, and it's awesome news that she's doing great here, and should be excited to see you leading the way here, and hopefully she'll see you in victory lane here tonight. And Keith, we appreciate you taking the time with us here tonight, and hopefully we'll speak to you a little later in victory lane.
All right, man, I appreciate it.
No problem. That was Keith Fallen. He was our stage 2 winner here, racing that 09 Smokehouse machine. And every time I talk about that sponsor, Mike, I get a little bit hungrier each time.
Jeez, you're gonna make me go out in the middle of the night and get some steak.
Oh my goodness, where else can you get barbecue and steak? Because all the barbecue joints down here just serve barbecue; they don't serve steak. So, man, if you do get a steak, it's like a tire. So, what a place that could be. And if you're in that city,
down, please.
Oh, apologize.
It's all right.
I believe I moved into the correct channel. Not positive on that one.
No problem. I'm sure he'll find his team there as he found the lead here in the race. As you see the pace car shut the lights off that machine. Like we're about to go racing here, boys. We're going to have less than, looks like, 76 laps at Chicagoland here. Well, let's go racing. Green, 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 green.
As we see, good wrench to 42, good wrench car back up front. But guess what? That 24 is lurking. Here we go. New leader.
Big move.
The 09.
Big move out of the 09 there, Mike. Big move to jump to that inside lane there and take that lead. You're seeing that aggressive driving out of Keith up at the front there, really throwing that gauntlet down. Those good wrench cars right behind him.
Definitely. We heard our Stage 2 winner, Keith, say that he took only right side tires, so this is definitely going to be a game changer. We've seen him go for the lead the same time the 24 went for third place.
And that might be a key strategy there, Mike, as he's saving that other set for when this race gets a little bit more hairy. But nothing's changing at the top as Keith Fallen still race leader coming around 4, crossing the line here at lap 108. Keith Fallen is our Stage 2 winner here, running that Jack's Smokehouse machine. Taking a look at the rest of the field here. It looks like Bob Carroll really got shuffled out with those pit stops. Really loving this sky cam view, or drone view if you will. Goodyear blimp view. There we go. I like that a little bit better. Seeing that race action from the overtop view here, and these camera angles are brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. We are always bringing you that iRacing action live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So all 3 platforms we multi-stream on, so definitely give us a shout, like, share, all that good stuff. Any feedback you might have, all that good stuff, we are open to that as well. But back to the action here at Chicagoland. It is Keith Fallen in that 09 car leading the way, and he is holding off that good wrench train behind him, Mike.
Yes, Riley Hoots definitely heard. He's hoping to have a set. 2 sets for the end of the run. So we're looking at Keith Lee running at 30.9s, while Keith is running 31.5. And new second place at 27 of Bob Carroll, who we just talked about just a little bit away ago. Guess what? It's coming back up. You say, Keith, I have a couple laps in my turn.
He said, that was fun and all, Keith, but I'm going to go ahead and take this lead back. I've been racing for it. And like I said, this is like the Blueberry Girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He says, I want this now. This is mine. I'm taking it. And he is our new race leader there in that 27 machine. Going to careen them down into 1. And boy, he is racing like he wants that race victory here tonight. We saw him go full wide and dig into the inside, almost onto the apron to make that pass there. He almost makes me think like one of those AI drivers, or one of those, if you're racing against an AI field in NASCAR heat or something like that, and you just get that big run, you can pass 8 or 9 cars at a time. I think I saw that out of Bob Carroll in tonight's action.
As we see, 5th on back. We got a battle here for 5th place.
We do, and it's Medina in that 9 car. We have been shouting his name out a lot here tonight because he has been in the top 5 for the majority of this race here. But unfortunately, Mike, this about 5th place back, or that's about 2 seconds away from the lead pack.
But they also have a big pack behind them, so which means that draft, a little bit of draft, running single file, would definitely catch these 4 cars. As we're watching Matthew and Riley working together, trying to break away from that pack.
You see the leaders kind of battling with each other. I'm curious to see if that's going to decrease their speed there at the lead pack, and it's really going to give that opportunity for Batby and Hoots to really tandem up and take that lead away from them.
Seeing 187 top speed, that second pack 191, so definitely a big difference in change in speed.
Yeah, huge difference there, Mike, and we appreciate.
Cars scraping that wall.
Ooh, got a little high there, but they went door to door, and you really saw that action for the last couple laps there as Still going to be Keith Fallen leading the line there, but Batby's right on his quarter panel with Riley Hoots on his back bumper. They want to take that lead back. They want to get back out in that open air. They want to dominate these last, I believe, 75 laps we got left here in tonight's action at Chicagoland. And we'll see. It is our new race leader, and that is Batby. And Riley Hoots is going to dig to the inside to see if he can get right behind his teammate in that 24 machine. These two cars have been at this lead pack the majority of the race. We take a look at the in-car camera view of Riley Hoots. These in-car camera views are brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. Let's take it right on with Riley.
Seen that pass firsthand, the race leader, as Matthew look on the inside. We see how calm he is under the pressure of his teammate.
Taking a ride on with Riley Hoots here, Mike. And I wanted to ask you, throughout this race, as we see these laps kind of tick down, you're starting to see the finish. You're starting to see that checkered flag kind of come into view here with going to be less than 60 laps to go here. How are you feeling on the simulator? Because as we're seeing, the speeds are increasing and the lap times are kind of decreasing just a tad. But you're starting to get a little bit more antsy, a little bit more sweaty in the simulator, I suppose. What do you have to keep in the back of your mind as an iRacer or a driver to keep, to be aware of here towards the finish?
Two of the things that you want to make sure is don't burn that right front tire. You heard the 09 say he took 2 tires on that last pit stop. As you can see, he's still up there in the front, but 24, I believe, took 4 sets of tire, or 1 whole set of tires. So that's definitely going to be a game changer here towards the end of the race. But that second pack, David Medina is catching. That second pack is catching fast.
And he is coming quick, looking like Brad Keselowski in that 09 car, because he's rocking that 9 machine. I think it's 6 or 9 Keselowski's racing now, but definitely give a shout out to Medina because he has been racing really consistently. I know he has some fans in the chat, so shout out to his fans. Racing at a funky cold Medina Racing, so I do really appreciate that racing team name there. That is David Medina. He's racing at O-Town, Orlando. You give a shout out to the Magic in Orlando City there in Orlando. But man, he is putting it on for his city, and he is trying to creep up to that lead pack there. As you take a look at the gap here, Mike, it seems to be, as we're taking a look at real-time stats here, he is starting to close that gap just a little bit.
Every lap he's getting faster.
Yeah, he's about a second and 7/10 behind that lead pack there, but he's doing it all by himself. Trying to get that funky cold Medina machine out front there, at least back up into the top. Well, he's top 4 right now, but I feel like if he can get up there and work with Keith, he can really take that lead away from these Goodwrench machines. Taking a look at the rookie there in that 22 machine. He is in P13. That is Alford. He's a rookie in tonight's field here in the High Octane Sim Series. Been involved in a few little incidents there in the middle of the pack, but really, I would say racing a pretty good race for your first run in this series.
Definitely. When I see a rookie, he doesn't have that rookie stripes, but when I see a rookie in that race, you know he's still learning, but rookies can be dangerous.
And you you see him really racing on the back bumper there of Bledsoe in that 42 machine. Bledsoe was a car that was in that lead pack. Maybe just got caught up in some unfortunate events. Now is racing in the thick of it, into the thick of it. Racing with the rookie there in that 22 machine. They are really trying to work their way back up to the lead pack there, but we're running out of laps here, Mike. Taking a look at further down the grid there, we see Alfred in that 22 and P12. Taking a look at a few of the other names there. Lewis in that 20, that was a car that was up in that front pack. But Mike, the one machine that I am really confused about what happened to him is Bob Carroll in that 27, who is now registering a lap down there in P18.
I believe I'm getting reports from infield is that the 27 did come down pit road. So I think he's trying to play a different strategy. We know that they can go about 39 laps on fuel. So I believe pitting early could be good, but also could be a gamble. So I believe he's thinking he can make it all the way to the end.
That is a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him in tonight's action as he is registering P18, a lap down in tonight's action. And Mike, I don't know if he's going to have enough laps to catch this lead pack here, because even with pit stops, this crew of Riley, Hoop, and that being that 89 machine, they really seem to just link up every time. Taking a look here, it is Riley Hoot still digging him down into 3 and 4. He's still your race leader with Batby right behind him, and Keith Fallen, who has been a surprise in tonight's race, scraped the wall a few times. He mentioned that in our interview there as he took home the Stage 2 victory. He said, if I can keep this car off the wall, I get a good chance in tonight's race, and he is racing like that. But keep an eye on the Medina in that 9 machine, really just laying down some hot laps, closing that gap, and he might be a car in contention here if we get a caution flag. And Mike, looking at your stats from that last stage there, you said that the fuel window we were looking at was about 39 laps on one run. So according to that calculation, these boys might be making green flag pit stops here pretty soon.
Definitely. We've seen the first run, they went about 39 laps or so. But then we've had cautions every time before they even get to the pit again. So I think this is going to be definitely interesting. Final dash to the finish.
It surely is, and let's dash all the way to the finish, because it is Riley Hoots is our new race leader there. We spoke to him. He took home the Stage 1 victory here. And he mentioned to us here, Mike, that there's no strategy between the teammates there. It's just basically keep your car out front, link up, and see what you can do.
As you see the 27, I believe. No, that was not the 27. That is the 87 going another lap down.
It is. It looks like Bob Carroll may have gotten that lap back somehow. He is not registering a lap down anymore on our grid. Ooh, as you see a car get a little loose on that corner there. But these lap cars are opening up an opportunity for Keith Fallen in that 09 car. Also Medina in that 9 machine. He is creeping up there as well due to this lap traffic. You'll see the leaders lose a little bit of speed here, but it should not play too big of a factor. It might just bring the field back together. But boy, it has been the Riley Hoot show all night long in tonight's race. All night long, he has held it down, and boy, what an improvement from last week. I believe he finished over 30 laps down at Atlanta. Oh man, what a quick turnaround out of Riley Hoots in that 24 machine.
Definitely looking forward to the second half of this finish, do people take tires or do they not take tires and hope for the caution? That's also going to be a key here towards the end of the race. When it comes down to pit, you take tires, you don't take tires.
Well, from history here, my grandfather won the 1998 Daytona 500 because his team didn't take tires, and they placed his car right behind Dale Earnhardt on the final lap, and Dale blew a tire, and my grandfather's team was actually able to slide right underneath him and take the victory. So taking that gamble, taking that risk might be that big payday that these guys are hoping for. We'll see if there's any drivers that are willing to take that risk just to keep their car out in that front pack. And Mike, I wanted to ask you too. I love asking these iRacers about these pit stops. As you're coming down pit road, about how much time do you have to figure out what you're going to take, how much you're going to take, how much time you're willing to spend in pit road, and is there any strategy to it? Do you kind of keep in mind the yellow flag in the back of your mind, or is it just this is what I got to do right now just to finish the race?
In the back of my head, it's always, is there going to be a caution? Is there going to be enough racing to bring out that caution? So you could see, for example, the 24 or the 89, spin and goes towards the grass, then it won't be a caution. So that's something you're always going to play in the back of your head. As far as, in pit lane, one of the things that the iRacing did bring to the service in the update was pit countdown. There's a bunch of third-party apps out there that had the pit box countdown, and a lot of people were requesting to have that added to the service as we see a battle for the lead, side by side with teammates. But coming down the pit lane, the countdown definitely helps. A lot of drivers know where your pit box is, so sliding in your pit box, missing your pit box, don't have any other excuses going forward. As we've seen the 24 tap the wall.
24 has tapped the wall here, Mike, but that is nothing less than what we've seen in tonight's action. Has been high octane, no pun intended there, in the high octane sim series here, live on 10-4 broadcast. We've seen several cars scrape the wall a little bit, give the wall a little love tap, if you will. Keith Fallon was one of those guys who gave the wall a little love tap. And speaking of little love taps, Clark is another guy who had some action there at the beginning of the race, bounced off the walls a little bit, but he has climbed his way back up into P4, so big run out of Clark there. And also Medina is up to P3 as well, so keep an eye out for those guys who have really just taken that dog mentality, if you will, not to cue Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, but really that dog mentality, and they want to eat. They want to eat, they want to take that prize, and you see it. They're hungry, and you see that charge building up right behind those leaders.
Speaking of leaders, the 89 car did come down pit road. So this is going to be interesting as we're seeing the 24 coming down pit road. About 40 laps to go. So here is one key that I've noticed. Looking at 141 laps completed, is that the burning of the fuel. Are they burning too much to where they can't make it to the end, or are they going to have to save to be able to make it to the end? As we've seen the 9 of David Medina also in pit road, and the 45. A lot of people down pit road this time. And our second set of top people down pit road, as Keith Fallon will now overtake the race lead.
Now, Mike, is it a little bit more strategic to try to stay out a couple laps and maybe build up some positions on the track and then make the pit stop, or maybe try to stay out a little bit, hope for a caution somewhere on the track, and then make the pit stop, or is it best to get that pit stop out of the way early?
Well, I mean, in the back of your head, you always got to keep in mind: do I pit now and hope there's no caution, or do I pit and hope for, or stay out and hope for a caution? You don't want to stay out too long because the guys on the fresh tires will come and they'll eat you up. So a lot of the things is try to be one or two. I'm gonna say between a 5-lap window from when the leader pits. As we see my reports here saying we have a car off track, I'm gonna check that out here. Derek Schuring is off track. Looks like he clipped the grass on the entry back onto the track.
Do a little bit of those rallycross racing tires on there. He decided to do a little off-road racing there on the infield grass. As we take a look at Keith Fallen, who is now our race leader. The field is going to shuffle out as you see cars making green flag pit stops here. We are 144 laps into this 180 lap shootout here at Chicagoland. This is the High Octane Sim Series live on 10-4 broadcasting. And man, we have seen some action so far, Mike. It was Keith Hoots who took home stage 1. And then it was Fallen who took home stage 2 in that 09 car. Racing for that Jack Smokehouse machine there. He is really holding it down for his sponsor and a sponsor of tonight's race. See if when he's going to make his green flag pit stops and if he's going to have enough speed to climb back up to the lead once he does make that pit stop. And Mike, I'm taking a look at the grid here. I'm really enjoying the gap that he's building on the rest of the field. I feel like that's going to play a big advantage when he does decide to make this green flag pit stop because he's putting it on the rest of the field.
Keith did come down on lap 134. Matthew Riley, Badby came down on 139. So I think the 09 is trying to build a little bit of a big lead so that way he can save a little bit later. So we're looking at about 39 laps on fuel. I don't think he's going to make it. But he's got a guy in front of him which he can put the clutch in and roll through the center and just let it coast in the corners. That way he saves fuel. You could save about a lap or two doing this for about 3 laps. If you do it right, you could save a bunch of fuel. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end. That's about...
No, he's going to come up about...
5 laps short.
Yeah, something like that, Mike. About 5-6 laps short there, but... That is not a huge window, so if a caution does happen or something like that, he still does have a huge opportunity to get that fuel in that machine and get that thing back out at the front as he's going to cross the line. He has still a race leader here. We're at lap 149. We got about 30 laps to go here at Chicagoland. We are live on 10-4 Broadcasting, bringing you the High Octane Sim Series and keeping an eye out on Keith Fallen here, racing for the Jack Smokehouse. If we could give a shout out to that sponsor as we're taking a look at his machine here. He is all by himself. Captain Jack Smokehouse, man. Every time I say that, I get hungry, Mike. I don't know if it's the barbecue, if it's the steak, if it's on Amelia Island. Go check them out. If you're local in that area, go hit them up. DoorDash, Google, whatever you got to do. Man, barbecue and steak at the same smokehouse, Mike. It doesn't get any better than that.
Definitely. And then we were just talking about it, caution. If there is a caution, I believe he can make it because you could save at least 3 laps under caution. But we see the 09 continuing with the 8 car, working and drafting with them, definitely saving a lot of fuel. So I think this is going to be a big gamble for that 09. As
But
we
it seems to be paying off for him, Mike, because he's building up that gap on second place. Is over, I think it's looking at about 7.5 seconds on second place right now.
As we see the 9 car of David Medina, a lot of these cars are all by himself. Riley Hoots back there.
Really fanned out in this action here. I'm sure you'll see the field starting to gap a little bit more together as this race concedes down to the end here. We're going to be less than, I believe, looking at 38 laps to go here, something like that. 28 laps, 38. I'm not a math guy, Mike, but we are creeping towards the end here. Looking like 38 laps. There we go. 4-year college is really paying off there, Mike. But back to the action here. Keith Fallon is still your race leader. He is building up that lead on second place. But do keep in mind, as Mike just mentioned here, he did make an earlier pit stop. So we'll keep an eye out for him to finish this race here. I know in the back of his mind, he is really hoping for that caution to get that fuel in that machine to make it to the finish. If not, we believe he's going to be finishing about 6 laps short of that fuel window.
Remember, he was also behind the 8 car, which he could at least saved at least a lap and a half.
And cut that window down to about 5 or 4 laps there, but instead he chooses to pass that 8 car as you see him coming around 1 and 2, coming down onto the backstretch here. Still Keith Fallon, your race leader, and it looks like that gap might be closing a little bit on second place as it's down to 5.8 seconds between him and second place. So that is a difference of about 2 seconds in less than 2 laps there. So a second a lap. So within the next couple of laps, I'd say Batby would be right there with Medina on Fallon's back bumper.
As we see the battle for Keith Fallon in pit road.
Decides to go ahead and take that fuel now. Make sure he is ripe and ready to go at the end of this race here, Mike. But it is a change at the lead, as it is Badby, who is a 16-year-old, barely old enough to drive. He's leading this field here at Chicagoland Speedway. He has been racing really competitive and really consistent throughout this race here at Chicagoland, running 1-2, 1-2-3, if you will. Been a great teammate, but now it is his time to shine. Cue up the March Madness, because this is his shining moment in this race, because he is all by himself leading the way. Medina is creeping up to him, about 1.5 seconds behind him. But we are less than 25 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen, at Chicagoland Speedway. We are live on 10-4 Broadcasting, bringing you the High Octane Sim Series. Big shout out to them for bringing us on for our first race with this league. We hope you are enjoying what you are seeing here tonight. And man, it has been an exciting race throughout this action here tonight, Mike.
As we see David Medina on pit road.
Curious to see how those boys finish at the end. Medina and I believe we were keeping an eye out on Fallon there. So keep an eye out on those two to see where they end up in this field. Keep an eye out on Tallman running that 23 car there, that Dr. Pepper paint scheme. No sweet. But he is keeping it sweet. He is running a really good race tonight. He is coming up P2 on the grid. So big race out of him, Mike. We've seen a roller coaster of a race out of Tallman here tonight. Lots of battles going on in this backpack here, and they're racing for top 5 positions as we are going to cross the line with less than 22 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen. We are 3 wide. I believe this is a battle for 3rd position here. Man, they are racing 3 wide into the corner. That's the 45 of Step. I believe, is that the 81 of Compton? Straight out of Compton, he is straight out of nowhere up into this lead pack here. He is holding it down in that 81 machine. You can't miss him. He is lime green. Cue up the St. Patrick's Day celebrations. I don't know if people are still celebrating that. Probably a little hungover from yesterday, but that is okay because he is rocking and rolling, keeping his car. He is racing door to door with Riley Hoots coming around into the corner here. They're still racing side by side. Him and Riley Hoots. Let's see, that's Zachary Compton there in that 81 machine. Him and Riley Hoots are racing door to door for second position here. We'll see who comes home the victor of this battle. And it looks like it is going to be Compton going to take that third place position. Still racing for it a little bit there. But it is going to be Zachary Compton in third position. Battling there, Mike, and that has been a name that we haven't really called out here tonight, and he might be racing for contention for that biggest mover of the night.
I think the biggest mover of the night is still Alex Tomlin. So far, yep. Reports are showing plus 15 on the board. Kelly Thomas up plus 10 on the board.
Like I said, it has been a roller coaster of a race for him tonight here, Mike. We've seen him in the back of the pack, front of the field. It looks like he's dipping into that inside. I like how in Chicagoland the driver's going to dip that on the apron to cross the line.
Definitely. It does, the only thing in iRacing that I've noticed is it does eat up your tires a little bit. But we see, you know, the field has caught. Alex says Zachary and Darren have gone by.
You see that 27 of Carroll, who is still, he's now 2 laps down there in that 27 machine. It's a lot of speed from him in that last stage run there. But it is Badby right back up into the lead there. He is holding off Compton in the 81 machine, a name that we haven't really called out too much in tonight's action. But look at that 45 machine. Been involved in a lot of incidents here on the track, but still racing in the top 5 in this action. See who's going to hold it down. See if one of those good wrench machines can go into victory lane here. As we see, is that Medina passing him? He is a lap down as well. He might have just gotten that lap back by passing him. He did. So he did get that lap back there. Medina is registering P12 on the board. We have 12 cars on the lead lap.
He definitely earned his lap back the hard way.
He surely did. No lucky dog for him in tonight's action. But still a solid run out of him in P12. If he can hold it down and maybe just stay in front of these leaders here, he can come home with a great finish here in tonight's race. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cross the line with less than 16 laps to go here at Chicagoland. And it is Badby up at the top. They're holding off Compton and Tallman, our top 3 positions here. They are our podium currently with less than 16 laps to go here at Chicagoland. And Compton's one of those names there, Mike, that's kind of just crept up the field, just kind of like a Sly Cooper, just kind of just keeping under the radar, not really splashing, not really getting into too much trouble, but really putting himself in a solid position in P2, and he is racing up on that back bumper of Badby.
And we talked about early on, you know, we spoke with...
And they are door to door, Mike. They are door to door coming down the backstretch here. This is a battle for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. We are less than 15 laps to go. It is go time for these guys at the front of the pack. They are racing like their lives depending on it. And Compton just took the lead out of Badby there. And boy, he is our new race leader. He is going to lead a lap across the field here, Mike. Man, what a big run out of him in this final stage.
Definitely, we talked about early on to both Keith Allen and Riley Hoots about tires. They said, you know, they wanted to make sure they had it set towards the end, as well as the tire wear is definitely, you know, not as is better towards the end of the race. So we've seen the 81 here pulling away from the leader.
He is pulling away faster than Wilson in the ocean, because you cannot see him anymore in that P2 position. He is building up that lead. He is almost up to a 1.5 seconds now. And cue up the Tom Hanks yelling out, Wilson, Wilson, because he is all by himself there. And with less than 13 laps to go, Badby better get on that gas pedal, because he's going to run out of laps to catch that leader.
So I think Babby pitted on lap 139 with Zachary Compton, both at 139. Actually, yes, 139. So definitely going to be interesting here towards the end of the part of the race. As we have a new second place. That's 62. Jeez, we haven't talked to him in a while. We've seen him
We
early
have
on
not.
have an incident with the 22 and his teammate, 87. Speaking of the 87.
And it looks like those Goodwrench cars are trying to link up to try to gain some speed here, ladies and gentlemen. But we are less than 11 laps to go here at Chicagoland. It has been a crispy, clean race. Most of this action here tonight with a lot of lead changes, a few incidents, but not a lot of cautions here, Mike. Only 4 cautions on the night. And a couple of those were competition cautions, but look at that. He is just all by himself. He is having himself a nice bottle of Perrier water up there, sipping on some caviar. I mean, looking like Pepe Le Pew up there all by himself in that French machine. But man, we'll see if these guys have anything for him as that lead continues to grow. He is more than 2.5 seconds away from second place there and racing straight out of Compton. I mean, holding it down. Taking a look at Zachary Compton here. This is his first season in the H.O.S.S Cup Series here, the High Octane Sim Series. He is racing out of Paducah, Kentucky. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but he is racing for James Journey race team there. And I'm sure he is racing with a little bit more extra motivation, seeing as though Kentucky got knocked out of the tournament there. Not sure if he's a Kentucky fan or a Louisville fan, but he is racing with a little extra motivation there. He wants to put it on for his state and take home this victory. And man, Mike, he is showing us how to do it here at Chicagoland.
Definitely looking about 2.7, 2.8 second lead from that 62 car, but the 23 car of Alex Timlin. He's always been sleeping there in third place.
But if he is sleeping, Mike, it is time to wake up. It is time to go because we got 8 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen. And those boys better get some speed or they're going to run out of laps to catch Zachary Compton there in the lead, who is just essentially crept out of nowhere here in the final stage and just blown the doors off the rest of the field here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got less than 7 laps to go as Zachary Compton's already on the backstretch. The rest of these guys are just now exiting too.
Again, Zachary Compton pitted on lap 139, so he has a little bit of breathing room to save a little bit of fuel.
Now, I don't want to jinx him, Mike, with less than six laps to go here at Chicagoland. Do you see a caution creeping up here in the last couple laps?
I don't, to be honest with you, but, you know, you never know. We got green and white checkers, I believe, so anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Cue up the Kevin Garnett because anything is possible in this race, but the impossible might become impossible as Zachary Compton is still leading the field here. He's building up that, I believe it is now, it is coming down a little bit, Mike, but it is a second and about 3/10. He's leading second place now. So it might creep up to a little bit there, but if Bullock's running by himself, it might not be enough speed to catch him because we are less than 5 laps to go. Taking a look at Zachary Compton there in the 81 machine, just holding it down all by himself. Maybe he is racing a little bit luck of the Irish there. Racing with that green and orange machine. Don't know if that's a throw to St. Patrick's Day, but man, he has got the luck of the Irish on his side here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as he is careening down into the corner here. This is Zachary Compton we're taking a look at, but it looks like, is he going down into pit road?
He is coming down the pit lane.
Oh no, he just sacrificed his lead there, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 3 laps to go. It looks like Tallman in that 23 car is our new race leader up at the top.
When we talked about it, you know, pitting on 139, Tallman pitted on 140. I'm curious if they're going to be able to make it to the end.
We shall see, Mike. This is exciting action here at the top. We are less than 3 laps to go. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt. Throw your threes up because we're going to cross the line here with less than 2 laps to go here at Chicagoland. And it is Tallman in that 23 car who's ran a really consistent lap, a race all race long. Kept that car clean, kept that car in the lead pack there. Kind of a roller coaster jumping back and forth. He is going to be our biggest mover of the race here. Going to take home that prize for sure, but we'll see if he can take home the grand prize here as he leads the pack down the backstretch here.
Definitely, this race has definitely come down to a fuel mileage race, as we've seen the 42 go down pit road.
And this is the last call, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever happens on this lap, the race is final. The race is over with. This is it. This is the last lap. It is Tallman in that 23 car leading the way. It looks like he's got more than a 3-second lead on second place because it looks like Tallman is going to be our race leader here, bearing any unfortunate events. He's coming down into 3 here all by himself, rocking that Dr. Pepper machine, that number 23 on the side, representing for Michael Jordan in this March Madness time. But he looks like he's going to be our race winner here at Chicagoland. Big win out of Tallman there. It looks like Hoots is going to come home P2. Big run out of him to finish P2. Saw him fall back a little bit there. That's Alex Tallman in that 23 machine. Big win for him, Mike. Big win. And it looks like Keith Fallen's going to come home P3. So good recovery out of Keith, making that green flag pit stop, building his way back up to P3. Keith Hoots going to come home P2. Riley Hoots. There we go. Riley Hoots is going to come home P2. And then Tallman's going to be in that 23 machine. Alex Tallman. Wow, man. What a run out of him. I cannot wait to speak to our race winner here as we take a look at these victory taps from the rest of the field here. Wow, Mike, did you see that happening? That Alex Tallman would essentially come out of nowhere and take this lead? I know you had mentioned he was creeping in third, but who would have thought Compton would make that last second pit stop?
This came down to a fuel mileage race. And as we see, the 45 pushing the 23. I believe the 23 did run out of gas.
He is out of gasoline. That is okay. He did what he had to do. He took home the victory. Park that thing right there on the front stretch and celebrate all you want. The crew will meet you out there with the trophy if they have to. But man, big win out of Alex Tallman there, our race winner. And Mike, man, as an iRacer yourself, how does this racing? How does this racing look to you, man? I mean, as we take a look at this grid here, what an exciting race for our first race with high octane sim racing.
Definitely, I never expect, the first half of the race, I did not expect this to come down to a fuel mileage. But it was that one late race caution that turned us into a fuel mileage race.
It surely did. And taking a look at our official results here at Chicagoland, it is Alex Tallman's going to be our race leader. Riley Hoots, who was our stage 2 victor, is going to come home P2. Keith Fallen, who was our stage 2. Riley Hoots won stage 1. Stage 2 winner Keith Fallen's going to come home P3. David Medina, what a run out of him to take home that top 5. He's going to come home P4. Darren Staff, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name there, is going to come home P5. Nicholas Compton is going to come home P6 there. Looks like he's the brother or relative of Zachary Compton. Kelly Thomas is going to come home P7. Matthew Badby is going to come home P8. Matthew Wilson is going to come home P9. Ryan Clark is going to be P10. And Mike, I'll throw it off to you to finish off the rest of this official results.
P11 is going to be Alan Bledsoe, as we've seen him come down pit road in the final 3 laps. P12 is going to be Keith Budlock, followed by Ray Lewis. P14 is the rookie, Nick Alford. Qualified P7, finished P14. P15 is Zachary Compton, followed by Bob Carroll in P16. P17 is Nick Shaw. Again, I apologize if we're getting your names wrong. Derek Schelling will be P18. P19 is Jason Movil. And Ty Goodwin out of the race in P20.
And that was our official results there, Mike. We appreciate that out of you. And we'll see if we can't get our race leader in for an interview here. I'm sure he is celebrating in victory lane. See if we can't get a copy with him. I'm sure the champagne, the Bud Lights, and the Budweiser are raining down on him. Let's see if we can't get a chat. Hey, Alex, I know the Bud Light and the champagne's raining down on you in victory lane there. Take us through what led to that victory there, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. I had teammates in the chat, and I just kept asking how many laps of fuel, how many laps of fuel, and I finally asked with like 10 to go, and I looked at it and it said an estimated of 11 laps, and I was like, oh crap, I'm good. So I pushed for a little bit, and then I was a lap short again with like 3 to go, and I had to save a little bit, but I was clutching like the whole last lap because Riley was like 4 seconds behind me. I've
Yeah,
never I've never done a fuel mileage race, so that was interesting right there.
Yeah, it definitely was interesting. It was exciting for us up here in the booth. We saw kind of a roller coaster race out of you. We saw you kind of get up to the top 10 and kind of drift back a little bit. Did you see that strategy kind of open up for you there towards the end where you saw cars starting to kind of fan out and kind of drift off because of that fuel mileage?
Yeah, I didn't think I had a shot. I had no idea this was gonna be a fuel mileage race. I wasn't thinking about the 550 package or anything like that. And I saw Riley backing up really hard. I mean, we were all wondering in our chat like what was wrong with him. And then we finally looked at the fuel and was like, oh God, we're like 4 or 5 laps short. And we back it down there. I passed both of them, and then they got by me, and I passed them back. It was a good race.
Speaking with Alex Tallman here, he's in victory lane, coming home to victory here at Chicagoland Speedway. No stage victories for him tonight, but he takes home the race victory here. And Alex, we saw you racing up there with those good wrench machines. Did you think anybody? I know you just mentioned Riley kind of pulled off a little bit there, and we practically gave the race to Compton there in that 81. But did you know that your time was coming if you just stayed consistent up there?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely saw that coming. Zachary came over the radio. It was like 10 to go. Said he was pitting with the 1 to go. And I just knew I was racing the 62 there, and the 62 I think ran out in the last lap.
Man, what a race out of you, man, and what a race for us. Our first race for the High Octane Sim Series. And Alex, before we let you go, you're in victory lane. The champagne's raining down on you. Anybody, any sponsors, anybody you had watching here tonight that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like give a shout out to my parents. They were watching along here in the last couple laps. I give a shout out to my teammates, Tiny Dog Racing, especially my teammate Parker, counting me down how many laps are left when I was saving.
Oh man, and Alex, congratulations on tonight's victory here, man. And what do you think is going to be the key for next week?
Where are we racing that next week? Sorry.
Let me take a look there and see where the action picks up next week there, and see if Alex can hold it down the rest of the way here. Let's see what the schedule is looking like for you guys here tonight. Let's see.
Oh, Talladega.
Talladega, yes sir. That's a super speedway.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's this package isn't very good here on the Gen 6 and iRacing. So, it's really going to be about how you use your runs, how you brake like to the back bumper of the car behind you, using that run to get by someone.
Sure, man. And congratulations on tonight's victory. I know you made that number 23 proud, putting in victory lane here in March Madness. And again, congratulations from us here in the booth.
Thank you. Thanks for
All right,
stepping in.
of course, that was Alex Tallman. He was our race leader here tonight. Big win out of him here, Mike. He really kept it cool. As you said, he was a card to keep an eye out for. They're running in the top three towards the end.
Yes, definitely. I was very surprised. I thought he didn't have it. I know he pitted lap 140, so definitely that's 40 laps. He definitely had it saved there a little bit. But I believe we have our second place runner up here coming up here shortly.
I believe we do as well. I believe that was Riley Hoots was our second place finisher there, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see if we can get Riley Hoots in here to talk about his second place victory. I'll get that queued up for you, Mike. See if we can't catch up with him on pit road. Hey, Riley, this is Mike and Will up here in the booth, man. Coming home P2. I'll pass it over to Mike here, catching up with you here on pit road.
Yeah, sure.
Riley, you finished P2. We've seen late in the run you scraped the walls a tad bit. Did that affect your speed?
I mean, I didn't feel like it affected my speed a whole lot. When I tagged the wall, I only ended up with a 0x, and my pace still felt all right. But I definitely think that contributed to the gap that I had to the 23 there at the end. I feel like maybe if I wouldn't have made that mistake, I would have been a little bit closer to him. But he did a great job saving fuel at the end of that run.
I was surprised that this race turned into a fuel strategy towards the end of the race. We also seen, you were faster the second half of the race. You were faster the first half of the race. What changed to make it to where I felt like the track changed a lot to where a lot of people were running high?
Yeah, it did change a lot. The line actually, it felt like it moved down a little bit after the second stage. I was still trying to rim ride, and there were guys that were running faster lap times than me, running about the middle to the low groove. But the track definitely changed a lot, and it picked up a lot of speed the last run, which made it really hard to save fuel there at the end.
What were your tires towards the end of the run? I know you said you were hoping to have a set of tires for the later part of the race. Were you able to have the set of tires?
Yeah, I was. I ended up only using. I used one set at the end of stage one, and then I used one at the end of stage two. So I had two in the final stage. Only ended up using one set. I was secretly in the back of my mind hoping we'd get a caution and I'd have an extra set over some of those guys, but just didn't pan out that way.
Are you surprised this turned into a fuel mileage race?
I absolutely, especially with as hard as we were racing for the entire first, I'd say 120 laps, to have the pace slow down that much and it turn into a chess match like that, it was wild.
It was definitely a good broadcast from up here in the booth.
Awesome stuff. Again, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
No worry.
Do you want to
Oh, go
shout out
ahead,
any
Mike. I'm sorry.
sponsors, family members that are watching?
I've got plenty of family watching tonight. I've got two of my aunts watching. Again, I want to shout out James for giving us these awesome paint schemes tonight. I'm happy to be able to put one of them on the podium tonight. And we'll go toward next week for Talladega.
What are the keys to your race for Talladega come next week?
I've still got to work that out in my mind a little bit. Daytona, I tried the whole strategy of hanging out in the back for the first two stages and then trying to make your way up front, and it didn't work out. I ended up getting wrecked anyways. So I don't know. It's all going to depend where I qualify. If I qualify up front, I'd like to stay there. If I end up qualifying mid-pack, I'll try the hang out and back strategy again. But got plenty of teammates to help me out either way.
Definitely, Talladega is definitely the draft track. So we look forward to seeing if that 24 and possibly Victory Lane next week.
I hope so too.
Well, we appreciate that. Was Riley Hoots coming home P2 here tonight. He was our stage one victor. We appreciate you taking the time with us, Riley. And man, what a race out of him. He climbed his way all the way back up to P2, Mike.
Definitely. I was surprised towards the end of the race that this ended up being a fuel mileage race to begin with. We've seen, plus, especially our third place, coming home third place is Keith Fallen, and I believe you're going to be down in pit lane there talking with him. But late race caution definitely dictated the finish of this race.
Yeah, Mike and I am catching up with Keith here on pit road. Keith, this is Mike and Will up here in the booth. Coming home P3 here tonight. How you feeling about that finish here?
It was a lot of fun. I want to give a big shout out to David Medina. That was a hell of a battle there for the end. We weren't given an inch, and I actually thought he beat me, but I actually got him by 5 thousandths of a second.
Oof, getting any closer than that. That's like a tail end or something like that. Big run out of you, man. And you came climbing. We saw you kind of have to make that early pit stop there during those green flag runs. You climbed all the way back up to P3. Were you surprised that this turned into a fuel mileage battle?
Well, I was hoping it wasn't because that was my whole strategy. I was trying to short pit and make it up on the track as they're running on older tires, and I got fresher tires. I was really hoping it wasn't going to be a few mileage race, but hats off to Tallman and Hoots. They were able to save the gas and make it to the end.
Actually, I think Tallman ran out of gas celebrating, so I think he was right on the edge of the fuel mileage. So big ups to them for finishing that way. And Keith, man, you came home, you won the second stage, really put it on here at Chicagoland. How are you feeling looking forward to next week at Talladega?
Well, plate racing is one of my favorite tracks and one of my best tracks. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've always run pretty good. I just got to get it put together at the end. That's always my biggest problem. But look for me running up front because that's where I like to be.
I think that's where everybody likes to be, Keith. And you won the second stage. You really ran a consistent race through and through here. I know you did a little love tap off the wall, but man, great job climbing up to P3. And before we let you go, celebrate with your teammates coming home on a podium finish here. Anybody you wanted to give a shout out to, any of your sponsors or people you might have had watching here in tonight's race?
Again, I want to give a big shout out to Captain Jack's Smokehouse. My dad owns that restaurant down in Fernandina Beach, Florida. I want to give a huge shout out to him. He really helps me out on these races and gives me advice if I got any questions about what I should do to get a little bit faster. And then again, another shout out to my mom. She was watching too, and I love you, Mom, and hopefully I get to see you soon.
Of course, and all of our prayers and best wishes to your mom there, Keith. And congratulations on the podium finish here. And we look forward to calling your race next week. And hopefully you put that '09 car in victory lane.
All right, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all able to broadcast on a short notice like this. Thank you.
No problem at all, man. You have a great night. And it was a pleasure. And we'll see what you can do at Dega.
All right. Later, man.
That was Keith Fallen coming home P3 here tonight at Chicagoland. And Mike, like I said, he scraped his way to finish on the podium because, like I said, he gave the wall a little love tap and ran into some fuel problems there. But what a great finish out of Keith.
Definitely. I was surprised that Keith even pitted that second time, but the one thing that I liked was that this race was exciting all around. No matter where you looked, it was always racing. They're always side by side. Between Zachary, Riley, and Keith, it was amazing to see what would happen towards the end of this race.
Oh, yeah. And you get a little intimidated when you see 180 laps, but these boys, they raced around the track and they made that thing feel like it wasn't any time at all. They kept that action to the floor. And we had a caution about a lap and a half into this race. The race kind of settled out from there. We saw Riley Hoots pick up that stage one victory. We saw those good range cars really dominate a good portion of this race here. But all through those pit stops, those green flag pit stops, Mike, as you were talking about, those strategies that come into that, you saw the field kind of get mixed up. You saw a few guys kind of take the lead for a little bit. You saw a few guys run out by themselves. And towards the end of that stage, Mike, the field really fanned out. And you saw that fuel mileage game really come into play here towards the end.
Yes, definitely. I was shocked again to see, what the outcome. Keith said that, he did short pit early, which is exactly what I would do. But then in the back of your mind, you always want to know, is there going to be a caution? And I believe that's what he was waiting for. He was waiting for that caution.
He was wait. Oh, go ahead.
It was disappointing that he didn't get it. I was looking forward to seeing what type of a finish that would have been. But the 23 car came out with the victory and had a fuel at the end of the race.
He really did. And as we mentioned, he ran out of fuel right there at the grid, taking that checkered flag from the flag stand. And big shout out to High Octane Sim Series for having us on for tonight's broadcast. We really appreciate this opportunity to broadcast these races. And boy, we were in for a treat. We had no idea what we were getting into in the competitiveness of this series. But man, you guys did not disappoint at all. And I'm sure the viewers were just as excited as we were. And if you like what you've been seeing so far here tonight out of 10-4 Broadcasting, definitely go give us a like, share, follow, all that good stuff. We multi-stream through YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And man, that was a great race here tonight at Chicagoland. We are looking forward to Sweet Home Alabama next week at Dega. We'll see how these boys race at a super speedway, but definitely a big shout out to Alex Tallman for keeping that fuel in the tank, as you mentioned, Mike, taking home this victory here. Do you want to give a shout out to the rest of our stage winners there with Keith falling in that 09 car and Riley Hoots and of course Alex Tallman, who takes home this race victory here at Chicagoland, Mike, and big shout out, as we just spoke with Keith Fallen. He shouted out his was it Jack Smokehouse was the big sponsor here tonight. Also, Octane Racing was a big sponsor here as well, and High Octane Sim Series, which is the league that we are broadcasting for. We do appreciate everybody for tuning in here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. Everybody was in for a treat. We saw a big-time winner, and it wouldn't be March Madness without seeing a number 23 machine in victory lane. And for everybody here at 10-4 Broadcasting, I'm Mike. I'm not Mike, I'm Will. This is Mike over here, my co-host. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we look forward to Talladega next week.